Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Mage the Ascension 20th anniversary rules by Onyx Path Publishing. This actual play is performed by adults and contains adult themes. Our World of Darkness is intended for adults. Listeners should pay close attention to all listed content warnings. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your storyteller. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am your storyteller, Michael Diamond. My pronouns are he, him, and we are back now with a first full cast episode of the Ascension of Babylon, our Mage 20th Anniversary Edition, Mage the Ascension story. We want to thank you for joining us here at the beginning. Good luck to all of our players as they grow and change. At the top of the show, as I always like to do, I'd like to thank you, the listener, and especially you, the Patreon supporter. If you've not had a chance to check out what we offer on Patreon, including the ability to alter our story, you can at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. Check us out over on YouTube and see all of our visual fun over there. As I will remind you, this episode and all the other episodes that take place in the World of Darkness are meant for mature listeners, and they contain mature themes and scenes. So please be careful. Mind the content warnings, and we'll have some fun. And now, to our introduction, I will turn to my right.
Hi, this is Allie, and I play Kaylee Hannah Godfrey. Ready to roll.
Okay, and to Kaylee's right.
This is Lecco playing Dante Maxim Vargas Bailey, he, they, Daredevil, and Kid at Heart.
At the end of the table.
This is Jake. I'll be playing Oliver Devereaux, a gambler and general ne'er-do-well.
Just in general. Last but most certainly not least.
Hi, this is James, and I'll be playing Adam Harrison, and he's an all right guy if you catch him in the right mood.
So for all of you, yesterday was a little different. Things happened yesterday. September 23rd changed all of your lives in a very shocking and hopefully eye-opening way. Most of you made it through the night without getting too terribly sick. And you've managed to, by the end of that evening, get back to your places of residence, temporary or permanent as they might be, and sleep. Sleep is really an interesting tale. Everything is more vivid. When you dream that night, many of you dream of colorful clouds, but not puffy white clouds and pinks and blues that sit in the sky. Many of the clouds are roiling, almost like smoke clouds that change and turn and collapse before pushing themselves back out again. Wondrous, beautiful purples, blues, and even grays. It is difficult, though, staying asleep. Most of you toss and turn a little bit, end up getting up in the middle of the night. For you, Adam, you get up without even remembering that you get up. But then when you get back to sleep, you have after images of walking around your trailer. Kaylee, you're haunted by two distinct burned skeletons. Their bones clatter. They don't talk, but their bones clatter when you look at them. Mr. Devereaux, for you, life is one big explosion. You get the slow parts, you get the fast parts, you get the parts played back and forth with one another. And that voice that you talked to last night is still in your ear. Dante, of all of the dreamers here, you have the most peaceful dreams. It is parallel bars. That's what you're working in your dreams. Back and forth and back and forth. Different techniques, different balancing, and different tension exercises. These exercises are important. The pattern is important, becomes intensely important to you. And before you wake, you realize that you are no longer participating in those exercises, but are watching yourself do them and critiquing yourself.
I can do better.
You can almost hear the tutor's voice in your head before it speaks. You're going to have to.
What the hell do I tell people?
You don't tell them anything. Not if you can help it. We're all on a journey. Some people are awake enough to walk. Some people are better off left asleep. You're going to learn that.
I've got to get moving.
You wake up in bed instantly, Dante, in a cold sweat.
Shit. I gotta try to check the time.
You are about 45 minutes behind schedule.
Sophia, we gotta move. I begin running around my little living area. It's apartment that I share with multiple siblings, likely.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sunday.
We haven't really defined your siblings in total yet, but would you think any of them would be home at this point?
I mean, there's a few no-lifers among them, but if I'm running 45 minutes late, it's likely they're still asleep.
Okay.
Because that means it's about 4:45 a.m.
You breach the bedroom and then hustle around with Sophie, probably just enjoying your frantic movements because, well, it's a mink and...
Yeah, so super funny. Okay. So since I'm running behind, I don't have time to make breakfast. So I will open up the fridge and move aside all of their shit and hunt for like my bag of hard-boiled eggs and whatever's left of a bag of green shit. And I grab them both. And I guess I grab my running shoes with my other hand and I'll put my foot at Sophie and say, "Get on, we gotta go."
Well, she does so.
Shit. I hustle and try not to fall down the damn stairs.
You hustle out the door. You have your bag with you and all that. Okay, Mr. Devereaux, tell me about the place you live.
It's a little one-bedroom apartment. It's full of music, paraphernalia, posters and record player records. Also has a bunch of academic books on mathematics and maybe some science strewn about the house.
Okay. Yeah, you were out late last night. We didn't really get a chance to visit your palace.
Yeah.
As we would call it. The one bedroom does exactly what it needs to do. It's about function rather than form.
Mm-hmm.
You are sort of like a dispossessed college student in some regard. But you've been here for a little while now. So I wonder, when you sit and sit up in bed after a dream like that, what's the first reaction?
I really have to stop drinking. Yeah. Oh, that's that whole night. I have no idea what happened.
It comes to you. It begins to come to you.
I must be cracking up.
You check your body again, just to make sure you're in one piece. You remember very vividly being down on the ground.
I think I had a nervous breakdown. I have that lump where I got hit, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, at least that happened. I know that happened. I don't know how I got out of it.
There's a hard wrap on the door to your apartment.
I go to the door. Who is it?
Las Vegas police.
Okay, what do you need?
We're wondering if you lost your car.
It was parked outside when I went to bed last night.
Okay, you hear a little radio chatter. And you hear the person on the other side of the door talk indirectly to someone else. Yeah, we're just checking it out. Okay, so your car was found parked outside of a house that had a gas leak at it. That house, if you have not heard through the news already, there were some problems.
Oh. Wait, my car is there?
Would you mind opening the door?
Do you have a warrant?
Do I need one?
Well, if you want me to open the door, you do.
Okay. I got you. I'm going to leave this here on your door. Whenever you're ready, you can come down and pick your car up.
Oh, okay.
You hear him step away and walk off.
I have the door chained, but I'll open it up.
There's like a bunch of paperwork not stapled, but taped to your door.
Right, I'll grab it.
Okay.
Damn cops. All right, I close the door. I look through the paperwork, obviously.
Yeah, a lot of it's legalese. I don't know how much law you have, but in basis, what it tells you is that your property, your car, was found at an active crime scene, and the city was forced, because of having to cordon off the area, they were forced to tow your vehicle at your expense to an impound yard owned by a third party. And that's where you can get your vehicle after paying the impound yard their fee, and then the city their fee.
Oh, bitch, this day gets better and better. Okay. All right. I'm going to call an Uber.
Okay, you get your phone out and call an Uber. All right, Adam, you are not scheduled to work today at Life on Mars.
Yay.
So you have Sunday off, which is just fantastic.
That is actually really nice because I got a lot of stuff to catch up on, like reclaiming my sanity.
Yeah, about that. It was a hell of a night. Ooh.
Yeah. Adam gets up and cleans himself up a little bit, brushes his teeth, throws on a shirt and just a pair of jeans. Looks around his dad's trailer at the stacks and stacks and boxes of books and things and sundries. And decides that this day off, is not going to be spent digging through this shit. He's going to go out and run a few errands. Get out of the house a little bit. Kind of clear his head from being in this stuffy old trailer.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. What time do you figure Adam wakes up, just roughly?
He probably actually is set in a routine that has been drilled into him. So he wakes up at like the crack of dawn.
Okay. All right, you get out and begin to run some errands. So you get an Uber over to the impound yard. And to compound the bullshit that you were having to deal with, upon arrival at the impound yard, you realize that they are not open on Sunday.
Oh, son of a...
Your Uber driver looks back at you. Hey, everything okay, buddy?
They're not open. I forgot it was Sunday.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Well, that's all right. I'll there's a place here. Have you eaten breakfast?
No.
It's right across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. He drives just a little bit. Don't worry about it, man. I mean, shit. That sounds like a bad beat. He pulls over. You see a place called Black Bear Cafe.
Well, this place any good?
I've had it a couple of times.
Well, thanks for the lift.
Yeah, no problem.
I go in.
You go in. It's strange. It feels strange in here. Your feet move sort of without really any direction. You feel an intense need to just wander.
Okay.
You like wander down one portion of the cafe. There's a bunch of booze on one side, and then there's tables further back. And of course, it has a traditional diner setup, some bar with stools and that sort of thing. And then you see that it has the kitschy sort of diner plates, the checkerboard out, borders on all of them, and there's all sorts of standard diner fare going on. Fox News is on, and just all manner of people in and out. You're in a northern portion of Vegas where the impound is, so you're not terribly close to the strip or anything like that. And you sit down at this table, and there's a guy in a leather jacket at it. He has like dark, almost greasy looking hair. It's long, it's probably down to his chin. And you can tell he sort of is the sort of guy who brushes it aside a little bit, and he's poking at some eggs, and there's a steaming cup of coffee in front of him. You're instantly hungry.
Start looking around for a server.
You hear a voice just as soon as you sit down. A lady, nice lady, older one, says, "I'll be right with you. Just give me a second."
I give her a nod of acknowledgement.
He raises his coffee cup. This unknown man raises his coffee cup to you and says, "Probably a good idea to drink up today."
Yeah?
I mean, we'll get to it, trust me. He pokes more at the eggs. So, Dante, you get to practice. Not when you wanted to get to practice, but you get there. Luckily for you, you're at a different one of your stops for work. You had in your you had listed for me several of the casino establishments that have programs that you work at. So I know that we talked about your work at the MGM Grand. So on Sunday, why don't you serve me up one of the new shows that Dante does?
Sure. Oh, at the Bellagio.
Okay.
All year.
Okay. So the Bellagio is another one of these mega casino resort facilities in Las Vegas. Big, beautiful, Italian themed, sort of Italian villa themed. The Bellagio and several of the other properties around it are that same style, right? But the big call at the Bellagio is the fountain out front. That's not where you do your business at. Your business is going to be on one of the show floors. The staff here are people that you work with sort of like as a weekender wraparound to Monday type of thing. You work a couple days here and a couple days at other places before any private events you might work through. So there's probably about 12 to 14 people going through morning routines. The crowd is not normally this thick, but you're a little behind schedule. So you figure that probably accounts for the larger population number as far as staff goes.
Sure. So if everyone is going through routines, I will do my best to participate and just kind of fall in line where I need to. What I'm basically working through in my head as I don't want to say mindlessly going through the routines here, but these aren't things that are going to, I guess, this job isn't testing my limits. This is a paycheck.
Yep.
So while I'm going through the practice, I'm actually deciding how I'm going to trim my workout later to make up for the lost 15 minutes. And while I'm going through the routines, I'm thinking about what the tutor said to me that I would need to transcend my limits. But I feel like the only way I can do that is to understand them, like more than I already do. So yeah, these are just the things I'm distracted, I guess is what I'm saying, as I'm working through the routines.
It's sort of tough to get all of the distinct information that happened last night. It's fuzzy. Some of it is fuzzy. You're mostly, when you think about last night, as it sort of bubbles up occasionally going through your routines, is one of your biggest concern is, what the hell are the MGM staff going to say when you come back? Yeah,
that's why I'm glad I wasn't there today. I just don't want to think about it. I have way too much to do between now and when I have to go back. So unless, I know that, what's his name? Jamie is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So all I know is I walked out the back door of the MGM somewhere between potentially shattering my body and a weird dream. So, or the way, yeah.
So practice lasts a couple of hours. This is an all-year show. So once the routines are in and the players on stage understand what needs to be accomplished, generally practice lasts about 2 to 3 hours. And you're through it. There's no role for you in this practice per se, because it's not necessary. But moreover, it is that sort of going through the motions. This project, this work is a paycheck, as you said. It's an important paycheck, one of many that you collect, but it doesn't challenge you. And you get the sense that the people around you are also not challenging themselves. And that it begins to the feeling begins to grow in you. That everybody here too is also going through the motions. They're just collecting a paycheck. No one here is trying to exceed their potential.
I feel like I'm going to see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Well, I have a schedule to keep. So after practice, I run to the gym and then make up my lost time.
Okay.
So I guess in this instance, the rehearsal at the Bellagio is a warm up.
Yeah, it's a gym warm up for you. Okay, so I'll shift back over to Adam. Adam, you're working through just the errands. What's the plan?
Well, first things first, Adam realizes that he hasn't eaten anything since yesterday, and most of the food that he got yesterday he gave to the waitress. So he's going to stop somewhere for breakfast.
Okay. Kismet has provided us a location in North Vegas, and we're going to place you there.
Sounds fantastic.
In doing so, we are going to see yet another member of our troupe walk across the asphalt parking lot, enter the Black Bear Cafe, and then feel this undeniable pull towards one of the back waiting areas. It's almost like a place that would have been set up for maybe large groups, that where people don't always sit. And there's a man there, 2 men now, and they seem to be having coffee. You feel inexorably drawn to the table.
Adam is going to go with it. He has learned, even just over the last 24 hours, that he needs to trust his gut a little more.
Oh, you see someone step up to the table. There's another man. So why don't you, for the folks at home, give us a rough description of the character so we can see what they look like.
All right. He's, about 5'11" or so, maybe. On the thinner side, decent looking, curly brown hair down to his shoulders.
Okay. He's sitting with a man, Adam, who has a black leather jacket on, a t-shirt. Doesn't look terribly expensive. Rough 5 o'clock shadow, long-ish, just sort of chin, shoulder length hair for it's black. It's definitely greasy, or at least looks greasy. Could be his style. You don't know. The man with the greasy hair raises his coffee cup to you. Morning.
Morning.
Have a seat.
I was going to ask if it was taken, but I kind of feel like you've been waiting for me. Adam sits down.
You couldn't be more right. Now, for you, Albert, you have not had any words exchanged with this man at the table. You've gotten served your coffee. It's been about 5 minutes. The two of you have said nothing. Well, now that you're both here, I suppose we can get started.
I'm sorry. Who do you think I am?
You're Oliver Devra. And this is Adam Harrison. We have never met.
Yeah.
Until right now.
Then how the hell do you know who I am?
Oh, do you want the creepy version or do you want the non-creepy version?
Let's start with the non-creepy version.
Okay. So, we share something in common. Something happened to you last night that happened to me several years ago. I woke up. Some people might call it an awakening, but I woke up. And I saw these little plumes all over our fair city last night. It was a riot. All sorts of people waking up. And so I made certain, or as best I could, that your feet would eventually come to see me. And they did. And I'm picking up the check, so if nothing else, it's a free meal. He sort of gestures wide.
Yeah, I could use a break.
Adam politely gestures to the wait person when they go by. For the price of a couple of pancakes and some coffee, I'll listen to pretty much anything you got to say.
Oh, good. Good. Because what I got to say is pretty important. Well, potentially. I don't want to put too much emphasis on it. So, Kaylee.
Yes?
Last night was not the nicest of evening that you've had in your profession.
No.
You were not able to effectively bring in your bounty, and I think the best way to say it was because you cooked them alive.
That's a good way to say it.
Okay. Yeah, just want to level set everybody. But that said, you had managed to return back home, an empty home now, minus sort of pets and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'd like to know when you start your morning how exactly you're coping with the fact that you essentially took out the bounty on someone and erased them out of existence.
Oh, not particularly well. I probably didn't. And actually, I didn't eat breakfast. I only remembered to shower because, well, I still smelled like soot from the night before.
Yeah, amongst other things.
Yeah. At least at the start of the day, I don't check in with anybody. I don't respond to the phone calls or texts that my fiance has given me, I'm sure. Just dazed through the whole thing. And who or what was it that I talked to? Chances are I've legitimately gone insane at this point. Or the failure to bring in my bounty. Whatever happened wasn't completely in my control, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, your phone is full of those messages. Not just the stuff from the significant other, but like the bail bondsman system that is looking for any updates that you might have. There's at least a couple of messages. Normally, you're fairly quick about locate, capture, bring back. It's been 12 hours now, and you've made zero contact.
Yeah, probably by the time that I get around to it, it's been long enough that if the bounty hasn't been taken away from me at that point, it definitely would be as soon as there's contact reestablished. Not that it matters much because the bounty's dead, but they don't know.
Yeah, they're not finding him.
No, not a chance.
As far as the other voice you heard last night, the person you saw, no trace of them at this point.
Maybe it was all just a really bad dream.
Maybe. So what are your intentions for the day then?
Well, it's Sunday, right?
It is, all day.
Well, then to hopefully maybe ease some of the tension with my fiance from the night before, I'll go to church. It's been a while since I've been anyway. I'm sure that my family will be happy to see me. I'm sure that his family will be happy to see me.
Okay. You head to church. Any specific church? Do you have the name of your fiance's church? Or?
Yes, the Guardian Angel Cathedral.
Wonderful. How fitting. Oliver, Adam, pancakes, eggs, the assortment of bacon and whatnot hits the table. So, by way of introduction, my name's Salvatore.
Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Salvatore. And you too, Adam.
You too, Oliver.
There are some differences between people, right? You're all aware that everybody's a little different. Well, now you're sort of extra special different. I say extra special with some parentheses around it. What you went through last night is a shift. It's a complete change of the dynamic of your life. It's a gift and curse all at once. So, meet anybody special last night? He sort of grins.
Adam kind of pushes a piece of bacon around on the plate a little bit. I did. Met somebody fairly interesting.
Yeah.
I met a lot of people last night. Some good, some bad.
I'm talking about someone very distinct. Maybe you just hear him in your head.
Oh, you're talking about that the guy in the old suit?
He grins. Oh, everybody's is so different. It's the one thing about this that I just don't get. So, mine, they're called avatars. Mine's an old Chinese lady, and she fucking hates me. Like, sometimes I wake up, and she beats me with a cane. Nothing I do for her is ever good enough.
Tell her to stop.
I've tried. You don't understand. But maybe you will someday. She's just really hard to please. Everything has to be in an exact way. I don't get it.
Does she make you better?
I mean, she's a conduit to phenomenal cosmic power. That's the easiest way to say it.
So, better.
Let's be clear. I'm in charge. I'm in charge.
The cane says no.
Listen. Forget the cane.
Adam grins a little.
The problem that the two of you have is that you don't know what you don't know. And I want to be sure that you don't get shoveled into one pile or the other without understanding what's going on. Because that's what happened to me. I was at the Hoover Dam when I woke up. I was 17. I was on a field trip. And then all of a sudden, I thought it would be a wonderful idea to dive off the dam. And somebody grabbed me before I could do it. And it was that little lady who hooked my leg with her cane. And she talked me down off the ledge. And then I got another introduction. There's this guy. His name is Solomon. He works for a local church. He's also somewhat of a traditionalist, let's just say. Anyway, he came and talked to me at one of the parks I used to skate at. He told me a bunch of stuff about how there was this fight or who had control of things. That people like us had to band together to stay awake, to move forward. Just to, I don't know. It seemed like a lot of homemade nonsense at the time. But he had a book that explained things from his point of view. And points of view are going to be really, really important to both of you. The waitress comes back with more coffee.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You both are dangerous. You just need to understand that. I know that it might not look like that.
A chimpanzee with a handgun.
Kinda.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly confused now.
Okay, Oliver. Let me break it down for you. Last night, something inside of you changed. You became more than what you are. You gained access to the guy in the suit. That's your avatar. That is the embodiment of what allows you to funnel cosmic power. They're like a companion. You call them a voice in your head. You probably think you're nuts. You might be. But you could listen to that voice and you might understand how things go. They're going to have a perspective. They're going to have an idea. And before you know it, someone's going to walk into your life and they're going to offer you something, a deal, a bargain, a hey, come play for my team. And then you might get another person who does the same thing. Hey, no, come play for my team. Here's why we're right and they're wrong. That crap happens all the time.
That sounds a lot like settling for something with extra steps.
So, what team are you recruiting for?
I'm on my own fucking team. I don't have one. Sometimes people call us orphans. I tried to make it as a member of the chorus. It didn't work out. I couldn't hear whatever voice they were talking about. I didn't mesh with the one, whatever.
Chorus?
Yeah. It's a group, a traditionalist group called the Celestial Chorus. I don't want to get too deep into it, ears and whatnot. He looks around at the empty freaking dining room.
Yeah, I understand.
And then there's this other group of people. And they're, they got everything wrapped up in a pretty bow in a package. They control a lot of stuff. A lot. Like all the slot machines. And all the lights.
Yeah, that's a sucker's bet.
Speaking of bets, I'd be real careful inside casinos. Because they own all the eyes, too. I'm just saying, there's a lot of ways you can go. There's a lot of ways you can grow. You need to be careful about what path you pick. If you want, I can give you some notes.
Yeah, I think that would be nice.
He smiles. Almost a little too too wide for his face.
I would definitely like a user's manual if you have one.
It ain't like that, Adam. There's no real user manuals for this. All this stuff is just notes that I've made along the way. He tucks into his leather jacket and takes out a little red book, and he puts it on the table. And when he puts it on the table, he moves his thumb and his pinky in opposite directions, and the book splits as if there's two copies. They're probably just stacked right on top of one another. So listen, it's not going to explain everything, okay? It's not going to show you how to do whatever it is that you need to do, but it's going to lay out some stakes, some ground rules. I'm going to give you a little piece of advice, okay? I want you to think of life like a rug. A big rug. Imagine you got the power to change the design of the rug. But imagine that if you try to change the design of the rug and somebody notices, you get your hand smacked for it. Because everybody else who's looking at the rug knows what it looks like. But if you can figure out the trick on how to change a part of the rug without anybody noticing, you can get away with it. Does that make sense?
Okay, I can see that.
So if I can change a little corner here without anybody seeing, or without making people stop to say, hey, how the hell did that happen? You might be okay.
So you're talking 3-card Monty with reality?
Kinda. Yeah. Kinda. And just remember, reality always wins.
The house always does.
That's why the house is still in business. Dante, give us an idea of your makeup gym routine.
Sure. So, standing here thinking about what happened last night, I know pretty well how I should be performing given my sleep, what I ate, hydration, etc. So, while I'm electing to get, I guess you could say I'm like supersetting every exercise. So to save time, to cut my 2 hours to 1:15. But as I'm proceeding, basically every time I hit an expected plateau, I'm going to try to focus my attention inward and not through my entire body because that's super noisy and complex. And last time I threw up, it's too much information to process. But like specifically on the muscles at play. So like zeroing in on the connective tissue and the nerves and motor units that work in concert to produce force, like the blood and oxygen being shuttled there. But I don't want to change anything. I just want to like fully understand what's in my way before I push myself. I want to know where I am.
That's a big question.
But yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing.
Absolutely. So we're going to jump off one of the platforms into the deep end a little bit. So I suppose then, much like the sort of superimposed picture that you created with yourself, you're doing this to sort of not an nth degree, but just a different iteration of that idea, right?
Much more localized.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm focusing on the exercise at hand.
I think it's a wondrous revelation you have. Reaching out with that perception of your own physiological makeup, every muscle group, the tendons, all of the different, all the sinew, like all of it, blood flow. You get a really great idea of what a muscle looks like when it's not performing in the correct position. So it's no longer a feel, right? Or like a look down at a quad or a bicep. It's now the sort of internalized tissues and sinews and being able to see the chordal, like the cord muscle flexes and all of the protein stretches.
Till the guesswork is gone.
Yeah. But you realize that like you have to rip everything apart now.
Yeah.
All of your old training now doesn't fit this model. And so that compartmentalization. This sort of first workout is like a stop and think thing where you're like, fuck, I've been doing this all wrong.
I get a giant smile on my face. Yeah, like who else is here?
Oh, I mean, it's
There's other people training in the gym, obviously.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, that person's doing that wrong. Oh, that person's not lifting correctly. That person's going to hurt their back. Oh, they just did.
That's going to happen. I can't allow myself to break stride yet. It's real distracting if I start listening to other people's trips to Snap City. So I try to dial it back again so that I'm not like wandering around getting really excited about that's a deep glute stretch. Like I don't need to know right now, but I'm sure I will.
You look across as someone's coming towards you. It's Kathy. She is a professional, semi-professional bodybuilder, and she has fantastic glutes, as many would say. But what the gasp from you is you are watching Kathy hydrate, like in real time. As she's drinking water, you watch her body hydrate in this amazing sort of shimmering fountain of water as all of that additional liquid gets, soaked up by her skin. Morning, Dante.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, totally.
Hey, come on. She blushes. Not here.
My bad. Sorry. What are you drinking? I'm going to look at her bottle. Is it, what is this?
It's a electrolyte infused water. She's it's what plants crave.
I kind of shake it, pop a cap and sniff it.
Oh.
I just kind of look at her awkwardly.
This has got extra stuff in it.
Cap it off and hand it back to her. Hey, look, I don't want to catch. Did you just get here? I don't want to interrupt you from the middle of something.
No. I just finished sets.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
If you knew that you could perfect your training to like an impossible degree, but you couldn't share it with anyone or tell anyone that you could do it, and you could never share that, what would you do?
I'd win every goddamn contest on the list. I mean, she sort of stretches her arms open wide, and you get to see the, a professional bodybuilder's upper body. And she's like, I'm in this to win every contest. Why wouldn't I just win every contest? You're talking about perfection.
Yeah. I mean, sure, I guess you could win, right? But if you were being perfect, then you would just win them all. So yeah. It wouldn't be a challenge anymore.
That's true.
So what would you do then? And I'm probably like gripping her water bottle. What would you do with that?
She sort of thinks, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about that. If I knew I was going to win every contest, yeah, it would eventually get boring. I don't know. She smiles. I'd probably put it into a workout regimen and sell it.
But you can't share it.
Oh.
I think I know what I would do.
I'd probably train other people.
Would you?
Well, sure. I mean, I can't share it with them, right? And since I can't share it with them in a way that I could make money, but I'm going to win every contest, then it sort of seems like if I'm going to win automatically, or if I'm going to win because I'm just that perfect, then there is no challenge. Then the real challenge is can I find a way to help other people perfect what they do? Give back.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. She takes the bottle back from you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, just gives you a smile and a nod and heads back towards the locker room.
Yeah, as soon as she's gone, I go into my bag, grab my notebook, sit on a bench, and I start writing.
Okay.
And drawing and writing and yeah.
Could see that.
Yeah, fuck time. This is important.
Now it's going to take time to probably get some of that stuff down on paper. So Kaylee, church is sort of this wash of different emotions. Clearly Titus is there, and so are several members of the extended family, who of course are all super, super happy to see you at church. They do their best to make sure that you feel welcome.
Yep, and as it always goes, I'm put in the middle of the extended family dynamics, in the middle of the pew, so that, no, really, you're part of the family. We don't want you to feel like you're not. You don't always have to be gone on Sundays. You're welcome here just like everyone else is.
Yeah, you get properly, fattened and buttered on all sorts of words that they hoist you up on. Father Price is there to not only give the sermon, but obviously all of the other extenuating religious practices one would go through at a Catholic church. Father Price's message is poignant today. It really sticks with you. Like, you are hearing him today unlike any other time that you've heard him. He feels energized, and his message is energizing for you. It wakes you up. It's not something dull and drab and sort of just common cud chewing that is very common in churches, especially ones who don't rely on sort of the we'll just say the old reliable fundamentalist views to rile people up, right? That's not Price's message today. Price's message is about hope, and why keeping it and holding it and sharing it is very important. That sort of inner fire that the world can yet still be better is a message that transcends. And it fills you personally with a lot of energy. And you view Father Price in a totally different light than you ever have.
It's also probably the most I've paid attention in church since I was young, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The sermon ends. People begin to file out. You get the opportunity before everything wraps up to obviously partake in communion if that's something that you'd wish. But yeah, after that, Father Price comes down from the pulpit and walks and talks amongst the, we'll say, maybe third full pews. He makes a point to stop by your little cluster of family, shaking hands, saying hello. Sort of turns to you and says, it's good to see you in the audience today.
Thank you, Father. I know that my attendance is haphazard.
It is, but all wayward children eventually come home.
Your sermon was lovely today. Different.
I think often that the congregation here might feel a little tired sometimes of messages which are by the book. Now, many of the sermons which I write or I end up giving are heartfelt, of course, and important. Scripture is important. The word is important. But sometimes there's something underneath that as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, Father, I would.
Your extended family begins getting up from the pews and walking towards the door as they're going to leave. And you begin to notice that there's a definitive drift happening. Like they're leaving and you're still engaged with Father Price. Titus comes over to you. We're going to be leaving soon.
Is it okay if I meet you for dinner? I'll be there.
Sure. He sort of half. He says yes. He says sure the first time, but that second sure is sort of half-hearted.
So I'll let Titus walk off. They've been rocky for a while. This is nothing new.
The Father Price waits until Titus gets about 6 to maybe 7 steps away, and he says, "How long has it been going on for?"
The better part of a year, probably.
Is it the job?
It's a lot of things, Father. It's a lot of things that have just accumulated over time.
I noticed in our office, we sort of have this pattern, and that comes to the kitchen waste bin. And as we go out through the week, different members of staff put their garbage in the waste bin, as we all do. And we all get to that point where we push the garbage back down. And we keep pushing it down. And then other people come to push the garbage down. Why? Why not just take out the trash? Oh, it's easy. It's simple. People don't do it because they don't want to do the extra work. Now, if you and Titus are going to come to some sort of agreement, one or both of you is going to have to decide what needs to be taken out so that the other might have space within.
There's a big impasse right now. And that impasse is bigger every time I see him. And I'm not sure I don't know whether or not it's worth to fill in the gap.
I've counseled many law enforcement officers over the years. The job that you do is a little different, but it's still important.
I know. That's why I do it.
And time will come. Choices will have to be made. He reaches into the folds of his robe and he produces a card for you. And he says, anytime you want to talk, outside of the confessional booth, of course, I am happy to have an ear for you. And there's this really nice stylized star, and you see the church, church name, beautiful inlaid sort of print at the bottom. But right across the top, it says Father Solomon Price. So back at the cafe, those books, gentlemen, keep them close to the vest. Think of it like a dealer's guide to poker.
Okay.
You don't want anybody seeing that book.
Right.
It'll give you a little rundown on what you're up against. And as far as the rest of it goes, as far as that cosmic channel can do for you, I'm going to suggest you try some stuff out. Maybe without anybody watching.
So, like, out in the desert or something?
We are in the fucking desert, Adam.
Well, I mean, like, but he gestures to the diner. This isn't exactly cactus and dunes.
No. He puts his hands up. Nothing in here.
Yeah.
No, there are normal people in here that don't need to be... You don't want that problem. Remember, think about the rug. It ties the whole room together. Don't fuck with the rug when other people can see it. Now, if you head to Echo Park in your trailer, Adam, and you hang out in there and nobody can see what you're doing, can anybody see the rug?
All right. So the tree doesn't make a sound, as long as I'm the only one who hears it.
Bingo. Does that make a little sense?
Yeah. I think it's starting to, but yeah, I think I want to give it a little practice.
Yeah, this isn't like driving a car or riding a bike. There are people out there that say it is, but it's not. You got to learn what you can do first. Talk to that voice in your head. Or if you can't get them on the line, sit back and, I don't know, smoke some weed, try some peyote maybe, I don't know, have an experience. Everybody's got tools, channels, things that they use to make it happen for them. It doesn't just happen on its own after you wake up. You got to figure out where your levers are. It's like a kink list, right? Like, what are you into? What are you not into?
Okay. All right.
I get coffee here every Sunday. I reserve a table. You got questions? Come back in a week. We'll talk. Sound good?
Sounds good.
He puts a $50 bill on the table.
It's nice to know I have at least an information source, if nothing else.
Well, he stands up. Listen, there are going to be a lot of information sources out there. I mean, it's like the 24-hour news cycle. It's the same thing. Everybody's going to tell you this is the way things have to be. But that isn't necessarily true. You're going to find your own truth. So just don't set anything on fire.
Hey, Sal. Does he count? Adam points at Oliver.
No. Because Oliver can see the rug too.
Just the people who walk on the rug without looking at it. Gotcha.
Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but the two of you should be okay to practice makes perfect or whatever around each other if that's what you want to do. If you decide you want to know more, there's a way to get in contact with me in the back of the book. I could maybe introduce you to a couple people.
Okay. All right.
All right. I got to get out of here. He dives back into his leather jacket and pulls out a sort of oddly large stopwatch, like gold chain and everything. Time's up. He steps out.
Okay.
So, Oliver, first off, what do you do? I mean, like, what's your gig, man?
Oh, cards, mostly.
Like, professionally?
Well, semi-professionally.
Okay. Hey, definitely not the first time I've heard that one. But if you're good enough to be sitting here and not with broken legs or in a jail cell somewhere, it's good to meet you.
There's been a few scrapes, but, you know.
Who doesn't have a scrape occasionally? So, was it as fucked up for you as it was for me?
Oh, you have no idea.
And that is where I want to call our episode to a close. And so thank you so much for joining us for our first inaugural full cast episode. I want to thank the players for agreeing to going on this journey with me. The journey is only going to get stranger as we go. I promise you that. And all I can say is good luck.